What's going on, everybody? It's Justin over here at Barbecue. I'm going to show you how to do a bottom chuck today. This is just a real cheap piece of meat. We're going to put it on the smoker here, and then I'm going to throw it in a sous vide bath for 24 hours after that. But to get started here, I'm just feeling the meat, seeing if there's any hard fat that I want to get rid of. Here I found a piece, like I said, real cheap cut of meat, so I'm not really worried about my waste on this one. You can save this kind of stuff and makes for good burgers and whatnot, but for this time, this is a little experiment I'm doing because of the quarantine that we have going on here. I decided that maybe it's time to start recording this stuff. What I'm doing here is just removing this fat on top. You want to make sure, you'll see once I fold this back, there's a nice red there, and then there's almost like a haze over part of it. That's going to be the silver skin. You're going to want to make sure to get in there and try and remove as much of that as possible. It's not really going to affect the flavor of your meat so much as it is the end result. You're going to have a little extra bite, an extra layer to get through. So I'm just looking for nice red meat the whole way across. You can see that in the middle there. It's what I'm going at right now. It's the same thing that you'll find on the back of a rack of ribs. You always want to remove that before you cook it. This is backyard barbecue, so really just do it to your liking. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just take your time and try and get as much of it as you can. I'm just using a short little paring knife to do this. I find that works best, especially on small pieces of meat like this. If you're doing pork butt or something else, a brisket, something big you want to trim, you might want to get a bigger knife, but this one works fine for this. On the back, it doesn't look too bad here. I'm going to leave some of that fat on for flavor purposes once it gets in the sous vide. Normally, if you're smoking this the whole way through, that should render down and kind of get out of there. Here, I'm just being particular. And you can see I left a big chunk of that fat on over here on the right bottom side. That was just the whole way through the meat, and really, at the end, that just falls off anyway. We're going to start with a binder here. This is going to be some Worcestershire sauce. Really not adding a whole lot of flavor. You're just looking to coat the meat in this so that your rub has something to stick on. Make sure to get all the sides, all the edges. Anything you want seasoning to stick to, you're going to want to get that on. And here I'm just grabbing some generic, I think this might even be McCormick's barbecue seasoning. You can grab it at your local grocery store. And I'm going a pretty liberal amount here. Patting it in. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit before it goes on the smoker, but I'm just helping the rub stick there. Make sure, as always, get your sides, get your edges. Some people neglect that and it just doesn't look as nice when it comes out, but just get a hefty coating on. And this cut of meat is normally a very tough cut of meat. You'll find people use this a lot in your crock pot cooks where you're cooking it overnight and it's going to basically braise in its own liquids and everything to help break down those muscle fibers and give you a real tender meat. But it can be difficult, especially if you're just trying to grill it. But after we got it all rubbed up here, we're going to move it over to the smoker. I am going to be running my Traeger grill at 225 today. I'm just coming back with a little extra garlic salt because in my household we really like garlic. So I'm sorry, this is garlic powder, not garlic salt. Don't want to mislead you. Again, just generous coating of that. It's a bigger cut of meat. It can take some seasoning, and you're not gonna ruin it. As always, making sure to get every side, every edge. So I got the Traeger set up 225. We're just gonna go throw this right on the center here, and just showing you. Obviously, I got the door open. It's dropping in temp, but you're not looking to cook it so much as just get that nice bark that you see here. Um, Here's a vacuum sealing bag that I'm using. I always fold over the top of it when I'm trying to put something in, just to make sure that when I do go to seal this, you get a good seal. You don't want a whole lot of moisture. You'll see later on I made a mistake, but it was easily correctable. And right now this piece of meat's still real tough. Barely any bend in it whatsoever. When you're putting it into the bag here, you want to try and get it in a corner. That'll help you to get most of the air out. And when I go to seal this here, you'll see that my vacuum sealer has two settings. One is normal, dry, and then one is, I believe it says moist. So right here, I'm just lining it up. You want to make sure your opening is in that vacuum area. Press it down tight till it clicks. You can see how new this is. I still haven't even taken off the stickers, but yeah, up there at the top you can see mode on food. I have it on dry right now, which is an accident. It should be on moist, and you'll see me catch that here as it starts to do its job. I realize that it's moist, and I gotta abort. I can't do it. Pop it open, make sure I'm not ruining anything. All right, not a lot of moisture got in there. We're still good. It's not sealing yet or anything, so we didn't ruin anything. Go back, let's press till it clicks. Let's change that and try this again. So it's just pulling all it can out right now. And then with this one, it will automatically seal it when it's done vacuuming. Because of my mistake that I made, I do go back here and I'm going to throw a second seal on this just to make sure. That one looks like it held, but you know, it can't hurt. I don't want this to open up while I'm cooking and get in the water bath that I'm going to be putting it in. So throw one extra seal on. And we'll just inspect the seal here. You want to make sure it's the whole way across. You see nice clear through there. Actually, both of them look pretty well sealed. So there's that. And then I have my sous vide circulator. You can see actually the cord running across there. My range was helping that water heat up a little bit. Got it set at 183. And like I said, we are going to go for 24 hours with this. And once it comes out, this is what we got. I'm going to cut just the corner off of this bag here. So you can see all those great juices in there. You're going to want to save them. They make a great au jus or just a dipping sauce. It is going to have a little bit of fat in it, so best to either use a fat remover to get rid of that. I ended up throwing mine back on my range here and cooking it down a little bit just to thicken it up and really give it a lot of flavor. I had to lift the meat up to try and get the rest of those juices out. Do not throw this stuff away. This is beef goodness right here. So once you got most of it out, just going to open up the rest of the bag. Just throw it on this plate for right now. What we're going to be doing is taking just a regular nonstick and giving this a nice sear on the outside once we get it out of the bag here. But I'll tell you what, this thing was ready to fall apart already. 24 hours in that sous vide will turn anything into a nice consistency here. I'm just checking it. I can tell it's already falling apart. But we got our non-stick over here. Just throwing a little vegetable oil in there. Got that heating up. And we're just going to throw some butter because why not? Now, once this all heats up and gets together as one consistency, you'll see me checking it with a wooden spoon. That's a good way to check if your oil is hot enough to get a good sear. Take the non-working end of a wooden spoon and put it in your oil. If you start to see bubbles, you're good. If not, just wait or turn your heat up. So yeah, just work that in. You don't want your butter to burn, so you want it to slowly come up. Don't have your pan searing hot and then throw your butter in. You're gonna just burn your butter. It's gonna give you a bad flavor on it. Just working everything in. You can see it start to bubble in here. I know it's getting to about that point. Here I am grabbing a spoon. Not ready. Not yet. And once your heat's ready, you're going to just very carefully put your meat in. Always lay it down away from you. You don't want to splash that hot oil on yourself. Here, I check it. We got bubbles. So we're good. We're going to go ahead and just lay the piece of meat in here. And like I said, this thing was already falling apart or ready to. So just be careful when you're putting it in. Be careful of splashes. And that's what you want to see here. When you put it in, you want to see those bubbles on the side all instantly. That's going to give you a nice solid sear on that. And then I left it for maybe about a minute and a half aside. You can see it when you flip it over here that it's ready. Again, sear all the sides. Don't just do the top and the bottom. Those are still, it's a lot of real estate to let go unseared. And you're really looking for a good Maillard effect here. It's actual chemical reaction that happens in the meat whenever you sear it. It's going to change the flavor and really enhance it as well for you. So here you can see that thing is cracking. It's ready to fall apart. So I'm going to do the final end here. And then we're going to get it to the cutting board. Here I am, and with a spoon, after 24 hours in the sous vide, this thing is falling apart. It is just shredding with very little effort with this spoon. This is great next to some mashed potatoes. We had it with scalloped potatoes tonight and some green beans, but it's falling apart here. I can't help it. I got to get in there and try some. So I'm grabbing jus real quick. Well, end piece and taste it, and I'll tell you what, this was phenomenal. I'll show you guys here a little bit about it, and then we're gonna head out. Thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll do more of these if people are interested, but just stay safe, wash your hands, don't burn yourself.